Alright, let's talk about tariffs, shall we? Because apparently, slapping huge taxes on goods from other countries is back in fashion. Who knew protectionism could be so trendy? It's like bringing back shoulder pads, except instead of looking vaguely 80s, the global economy might just have a full-blown meltdown. The US and China, two economic heavyweights, are currently locked in a trade war, and everyone's wondering, will this be the haymaker that finally knocks out the global economy? Buckle up, dear viewers, because we're diving headfirst into the chaotic world of tariffs. To understand the chaos a trade war can unleash, we need to talk about supply chains. You know, those intricate webs that bring you your phone, your coffee, basically everything. Well, tariffs are like throwing a wrench, or maybe a whole toolbox, right into the gears of those supply chains. Suddenly, sourcing materials gets way more expensive. Remember when the price of your morning toast jumped because of a tariff on Canadian steel? Yeah, that's the sort of ripple effect we're talking about. Electronics, cars, even agriculture, all these industries rely on parts and materials crisscrossing borders. But slap on enough tariffs, and suddenly businesses are scrambling to find new suppliers or relocate production entirely. It's like trying to reorganize your entire spice rack during a blackout. Is it possible? Sure, but it's going to be messy, inefficient, and probably involve a lot of swearing. Remember the stock market? That unpredictable beast that seems to have a nervous breakdown every time someone sneezes in the wrong direction? Well, trade wars are like feeding that beast a steady diet of espresso and Red Bull. The mere whisper of a new tariff can send investors running for the hills, causing stock prices to bounce around more than a toddler on a trampoline. See, uncertainty is the market's kryptonite. When businesses don't know what new tariffs might pop up or how long this trade war will drag on, they get skittish. Investment dries up, growth slows down, and everyone starts eyeing the exits like they're in a crowded theater yelling fire. Let's talk about China for a second, shall we? The world's second largest economy, a global manufacturing powerhouse, and a country that's been on an economic tear for decades. Well, even China isn't immune to the shrapnel of a trade war. When tariffs start flying, Chinese businesses feel the pinch and their economy starts to slow down. Now, this isn't just bad news for China, it's bad news for everyone. See, the global economy is kind of like a giant game of Jenga. You can carefully remove a few blocks without toppling the whole thing. But start yanking out key pieces like China's growth, and suddenly the whole structure starts to look a little wobbly. And it's not just China we need to worry about. Emerging markets, those economic up-and-comers who rely heavily on exports, are particularly vulnerable. Hit them with tariffs, and their growth prospects could evaporate faster than a puddle in Death Valley. So, the United States and China are locked in a trade war, slapping tariffs on everything but the kitchen sink. What's a country caught in the crossfire supposed to do? Well, if you can't dance with your usual partner, you find a new one. That's where trade diversion comes in. Countries like Mexico, Vietnam, and those lucky ducks in Southeast Asia are seeing a surge in business as companies look for alternative places to source their goods. It's like suddenly becoming the most popular kid in school after the reigning prom king and queen breakup. Everyone wants a piece of you. This diversification of trade can actually be a good thing. It makes the global economy more resilient, less reliant on just a few big players. But finding new, reliable trading partners takes time, and there's no guarantee these new relationships will be as smooth or as profitable as the old ones. Let's be honest, the global trading system is kind of like a giant, chaotic flea market. Everyone's trying to get the best deal. There are rules, but they're not always enforced, and things can get a little heated. That's where the World Trade Organization, the WTO, comes in. They're like the referees, trying to keep things fair and prevent the whole thing from descending into a brawl. But a trade war between two economic heavyweights like the United States and China? That's like asking the WTO to officiate a steel cage match between Godzilla and King Kong. They can try to intervene, to mediate, to remind everyone of the rules. But let's be honest, when those two titans start throwing punches, everyone else is just trying to get out of the way. A prolonged trade war could seriously undermine the WTO's authority, leading to a more fragmented, less predictable global trading system. Here's the thing about trade wars, they're never just about trade. They're about power, influence, and who gets to call the shots in the global sandbox. The current spat between the United States and China is just the latest chapter in a long-running geopolitical rivalry, a sort of economic Cold War, if you will. This rivalry extends far beyond tariffs. It encompasses everything from technology and investment to military might and global alliances. And while a full-blown economic collapse isn't inevitable, this rivalry is creating a whole lot of uncertainty and tension on the world stage. Think of it like this. You're at a dinner party, and the two loudest, most opinionated guests at the table start arguing. Suddenly everyone's on edge. The mood in the room changes, conversations become strained, and you can't help but wonder if someone's going to flip the table over dessert. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This trade war is a mess. It's causing economic pain, disrupting global supply chains, and generally making everyone a little bit twitchy. But is it going to cause a full-blown economic collapse? Probably not. At least not on its own. The global economy is a surprisingly resilient beast. It's interconnected, adaptable, and has a knack for finding ways to muddle through even the most turbulent of times. That doesn't mean we're out of the woods just yet. This trade war could escalate, geopolitical tensions could boil over, and let's not forget about all the other fun stuff happening in the world right now. So, what can you do? Well, for now, buckle up, stay informed, and maybe consider investing in some antacids because it's going to be a bumpy ride.